Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Conversations of the Heart. As always, it is your boy T Till. Now, if you've been following my show, you already know who this is. He is almost a resident guest on the show. We've had lots and lots of conversations on this show. So I call him, he is a finance guru, financial expert. He has a distinguished CFA designation. Um, he is debt free, ladies and gentlemen, debt free. He is at Debt Free Joel. He is someone who I consider a brother. He is educated. He is smart. He is hardworking, a professional, a philanthropist in many ways, whether you know it or whether you don't. And I just want to say that I appreciate this brother 2000%. In the position that he plays in my life and the knowledge that he spreads to the masses on his social media pages, on his YouTube pages. He's doing great work in the world with getting people financially educated. He is a guru in financial literacy. And if you can learn something from him, please check out his page at Debt Free Joel. And you can check out the quite a few interviews and conversations that we have had on multiple different topics according to finance, mental health, and things like that. And we might touch on that a little bit today, but today is a different type of episode. It is a different type of time. As you can see, we are in our fedoras. We are chilling. This is what we would do if we was in person. This is how we are. This is how we dress normally when we outside. But this is going to be a different type of conversation. It's going to get a little raw. But nevertheless, without further ado, the incomparable at Debt Free Joel. Ladies and gentlemen.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This guy's talking so much, like you making me sound like much bigger than what it is. I'm appreciated, man. Like I say, I tell everybody the same thing. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd just be minding my damn business behind the scenes. I wouldn't be on camera. You know that about me already. I wouldn't be on camera. I wouldn't be doing videos. I wouldn't be doing that. So, like I said, based on the conversation we had during COVID, you challenged me to come on your show once and talk about finances and ways we can help the community, and everything has been that way ever since. So,
and it has,
no matter what happens to in this debt-free Joel life, from that point on, the origin is always you.
And it's crazy. Like, your platform bubbling. Like, I see it on IG. You went viral a few times. I've seen it on TikTok. You went viral. You on YouTube. Yeah, like you have ballooned, my friend, and you should, because of the expertise, because of the realness and things like that. So definitely congratulations to you on all of your success and your endeavors and what you will continue to do and what your future plans are. I'm not so sure with this platform, but I know it's going to get bigger and better. And I'm looking forward to, just get a front row seat to the movie, so definitely salute to you on all the incredible things.
We'll break the news soon. Like, we'll see how long I'm debt free as I'm working on this. Clearly, I'm not in front of the bookcase. So we'll see. We'll see how long I'm debt free without nothing, and maybe debt free with a mortgage. We'll see how that branding will go, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, as of right now, the branding is what it is.
Right? It is what it is. It's 100%. Ain't nothing. Ain't nobody over here. Just me.
Exactly. So, with that said, I start a little light, right? The importance of being debt free. So for the people who don't know, and this is why I'm going to start here, and then we gonna pivot. But
yeah,
why did you start like this movement? Because you were doing it before it was a movement. You was doing it before it was popular, right? Finance has been your thing, right? It's been your niche for years, right? So, but why did you really start this movement, right? To be debt free.
I wouldn't say necessarily a movement. I think it was December 28th, 2019. I wrote on a piece of paper what my purpose was. and my purpose was to educate minorities, specifically Black people, on how to be better with their money so that it can be more charitable, right?
Mm,
And the
mm-hmm,
goal was to start teaching in churches, right? That was the goal. The goal was to actually start, you know, holding sessions in like many churches and people's basements or whatever, and just talking to religious folks on how to be more charitable and how to. You can't ask someone to be charitable if they don't know how to budget, right? You can't ask someone to depart with a part of their income if they don't know where their income has been going in the first place.
mm,
So that was the goal, and then happened, right? So I remember there's a video I think on my Instagram from probably my private page where I'm sitting in a tank top. Like I think I should probably talk about things in finance, and this is when everybody was like losing their mind. Um, and that was my way of giving back. My way of giving back was to just tell everybody everything I learned up to that point for free, with
mm,
with with no fee. That was my way of giving back. That was my charity during that time,
mm-hmm.
and it just kept going. I do love doing it. I do love helping people, and I think I always lose people on the charity part, but I
Yeah.
think that to me is interesting to do it. You see it from the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional aspects.
Mm-hmm,
Money encompasses it all.
mm-hmm.
So I love seeing it. Me personally, I love how I'm trying to help people with that. Where it goes, I don't know, but I do enjoy speaking on it.
Yeah. And it's good to, it's also good to see you on other people's platforms too. I know you have your own that's bubbling. And it's dope to see you on other people's platforms and spreading the word, about financial literacy, importance of being debt free, money management, and things like that. So, I definitely love to see it, man. But for the people who don't know, right, or they just meet you at, being debt free Joel, right?
Mhm.
But outside of that, right, who is Joel?
I am Maud's son.
Mm-hmm.
I am Maud's son.
Mm,
I am Fritz's son. Right? For
mm,
a good portion of my life, I was Fritz's son. I am Maud's son. For those of you who don't know, I am making it my business to tell every single person about my mother because of how humble she was.
mm,
I am Maud's son, right? I am Catholic. I am a Black man. I am religious. But if I encompass all of it, I am Maud's son. I am sitting in Maud's house trying to buy her house, right? I am, I have two older brothers. But when you sum me up, when the casket drops, I am Maud's son because I think the aspect that people tend to forget is like, oh well, this guy's just about money all day long. So apparently he's just probably a nerd his whole life. Well, Terrence could tell you how I was in high school. We were
mm,
smart, but we were still good. Like we were still out here doing whatever the hell we wanted.
mm,
Um, but I think if I was to sum myself up, yeah, I'm Maud's son through and through, just because of when you take care of a parent and you see it, how that goes in
mm,
real time, especially from a religious aspect, it changes you. It
mm,
completely. We were just talking about this before we got on camera. Like, I don't care what people ask me or how. I don't. It doesn't bother me anymore. Nothing. Like it
mm,
doesn't bother. My mother was the same way. She could
mm,
care less. And I think I picked that up towards that, and I try to base things on integrity. I'm
mm,
my word. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, and it's
mm.
to my own detriment, right?
Yep.
I'll go to the absolute extremes.
Mm,
You know that.
man.
I'm fully aware of the fact that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to go to the extreme to get it done. I don't care if
Mm,
it inconveniences me. I don't care if it takes, I'm going to do it.
right. Um, so it sounds like in order to get to know who you are, you have to get to know Maud.
Yes.
So who was Maud?
My mother was a woman of Christ. That is probably the best. So that you can't, you know how people keep guns in the house? That's how
Mm,
they kept rosaries. It was every time you looked around, it was another rosary. You know what I'm saying? Um, she was a grandmother, a mother, a sister, a friend, a cousin, a confidant,
Mm.
and she was the one that, a lot of times behind the scenes would be the person to cut a check.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My dad gave me the vision. My mother cut the check.
Mm.
So that to me is if I had to do it, that's who she was. But we were a tough household, right? Like I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure you did the same thing for like I don't know how it was for you folks, but like in my house, you didn't really hear the I love yous a lot
Mm-hmm.
because it was words, right? Words didn't really mean a lot to us. It's what you
Mm.
did,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're not really hearing my mother say I love you all day long, but you know damn sure she does by
Mm-hmm.
what she does.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like, how was your house with that? Did you guys grow up in a house where there's a lot of I love yous? Because, like I said, I
Yes.
feel like I'm on a boat by myself sometimes. Because I'd be thinking like, I thought everybody was like this.
No.
I didn't know.
So we heard a lot of "I love you" from my mother. My
Okay,
dad, nah.
military.
Yeah, military guy.
Yeah,
There was no, um, you know, "I love yous" and stuff like that, right? That wasn't where he came from. It was his actions that showed how much he loved us.
right.
My mom was a little different. My mom was, oh, when you come in this house, hug, like
Wow, wow,
ASAP. Like you
that's
walk
real.
past me, it's smoke. Like you walk past me without giving me a hug, it's smoke. It's smoke. Like what's your problem,
Right, right.
right? That was her thing. Um, so but my dad was more like opposite. Fuck, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we not doing that, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
nah, that's for your mother, right? But it's interesting. The year before my dad passed, that changed. Like drastically to a point where it was almost awkward for me. I'd probably say if I could speak for me and my brother, I would might probably say it's a little awkward for both of us, but I'll just speak for me. It was a little awkward, right? Where it was like, huh?
Did he know? Did he know he was going?
No. I mean, he was sick. I mean, but that was like, unfortunately a normal thing. I mean, he was sick when I got out of high school, right? So we're
Hmm.
talking 20 something, 30, I don't know, 20 something years later, right? Like
It's
he's
interesting how the
he's
body.
sick.
Yeah, it's interesting how the mind and the heart tells you what's about to happen.
Yeah, right.
Because if he started changing, then that's his way of.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it was just like, oh, I love you guys. And you're like, huh? Like, okay. Right. That wasn't, that was way before he passed. Right. But it just started certain things you started to see a little differently with him. Right. You start to be a little bit more sensitive about certain things and, you know, saying things, expressing things. And I was like, wow, like, this is nice. Open up more dialogue for conversation, right? That was different. I got to ask some questions now, right? Before it was I didn't ask no questions, bro. You
Hmm.
know, so very different, right? But my mom's still the same. Even my mom to this day. Um, when I go see her in her condition, she's still like muscle memory. Where's my hug? Right? Even with
Yeah.
even with half of her body the way it is, the other half that's
So
working,
you still show the respect.
it's 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 still like, hey, like where is it? Right. And I'm like, muscle memory, it just doesn't change.
That's beautiful. That's how it's supposed to be. See
Mm-hmm.
that's how. See, my household wasn't like that. My mother hugged you, but like it was more like a head bump. You know what I mean? Like I'm serious. Like it was different. Like my mom raised three sons, all with attitude problems. You already know me. Imagine me times three, right? It's like nuts. And my dad was tough, right? My dad was, I called him like a cerebral assassin.
Mm-hmm.
He was nice with it. So my mom, like this is, dude, what's the best way I could put it? This is Fritz's house, but this is Maud's house.
Mm-hmm.
You walk through that damn door, it's her house, her rules. You
Mm-hmm.
don't like it, you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
right? But so for me, I was always the youngest. So if I was the youngest, you just gravitate into your mom most of the time because she's the one that's taking you everywhere. Your brothers don't want nothing to do with you. Like, like they want to go live their life. No, don't get me wrong, my
Yep.
brothers put me down for long, but even you just want to go chill with your friends. Like I don't want to carry my little.
100%.
So I would travel with my mom a lot, and my mom, you realize when you're younger, you used to rebel, and then when my father passed away, every three people on their deathbed told me, no matter what happens to me, take care of your mother. So you don't tell a soldier that,
Mm.
right? My dad was the general, so if he gives me an order, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that by giving me that order, take care of your mom, I took it literally to the grave,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, if I make you a promise, I'm going to go to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So that was her, but it wasn't. It just wasn't like that in the house. It wasn't like, oh my god, nah,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
But you call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm
Yeah.
there. That's me. Because I think we grew up in a type of framework where, again, we weren't in the military, but I would have probably loved to meet your dad. that's,
Yeah.
that's the energy that was around us, where it was like
Mm-hmm.
anybody could talk, but show and prove. And that was the neighborhood I grew up in. Like nobody cared what you said. Are you nice in basketball? Show it. You're really fast? Run. Oh, you know how to catch a ball? Let's play football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we
Yeah.
don't want to get it talking.
Yeah. And I think, that's the one thing, like my dad, no matter what, but he always told us that too. Like when I'm not around, you take care of your mother. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that when he was alive, right? Like, and he just meant like, hey, if I'm not physically here, that's your responsibility. I don't care if
Yeah.
y'all 7, 8, whatever it is,
38. Yeah, it don't matter.
whatever it is, you may not can do much at 8, but you better do what you can, if I'm not around to take care of your mother, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so um that was the thing where you took it, like you said, you take it so literal, and
Yeah.
you feel this level of responsibility. Um, that sometimes even as young people, like you don't get it, right? Like you know it and you take it so seriously, but you don't understand how heavy it is though either.
Yeah.
Like when
There's,
like
there's
when it's different.
yeah, no. Like I lived it. There's no
Yeah.
way, right? I was my mother's consigliere for almost 14, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She was the boss. I was the shooter. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I get it. You take it so seriously, and your mom don't need it for the for the record, right? Your mom don't
Yeah.
need you, and she'll let you know that broad daylight. Like, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to church. I don't need you to drive me by.
Yeah.
So you got to give them the independence to do it. But
Yeah.
no, you literally take it extreme. As my barber said, you walk someone to the pearly gates,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can say that, right? I can say I did that, but sometimes you ask at what cost. And to me, it's like, I don't care about the cost personally. That's cool with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever led up to this point for me to do that has changed me for the good, and I'm okay with it. Whatever it is. And that's like I
Mm-hmm.
said, like, whatever. Girlfriends didn't work out, cool. Don't matter to me. I didn't get to go on vacations. Cool. No problem. No kids. That's all right. Cool. Because when it's all said and done, my conscience is clear.
Mm-hmm.
I may have, again, may have fucked up a lot of things on the way here. It's like I was perfect. The fuck? No, I don't know that.
Right.
But my conscience is clear. And I
Mm.
think that's where the freedom comes in. That's why my dad is my father is the Michael Jordan to me being Kobe. I stole all his moves, the way I
Mm-hmm.
dress, the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I act, the way I do my articulation, everything. I don't even think he wore fedoras, but like
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the only thing he didn't do that I didn't. I robbed,
Mm-hmm.
right? I robbed everything of that man,
Mm.
literally everything. I took
Mm.
all his moves. But my mother, at the end, took the framework of Fritz and was like, "All right, let me show you how to do this."
Mm.
I'm out. I'm gone. So now you have your father's body with my mind. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll go teach people about finance.
Right.
Now
That's
I'll go.
dope. That's dope.
And she
I
never
think.
did it personally. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's how it happened.
I think it's the opposite for me. I think like I took a lot from my mom, especially early growing up. Like I almost couldn't, the one thing I stole her swag. Like I took it. Like she had a certain, like she was quiet, but she had a certain swag about the way she dressed, the way
Hmm.
she was a dancer too. Like, you know, my dad was no dancer. He was a two
Yeah.
stepper. Period. You ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, you
No
ain't
more
getting nothing out of
two.
me. Somebody moved differently in this party. It's over. I get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
That's
Totally get it.
that's that was one of the weirdest things. Also, something that happened when, like, in the year before my dad passed. He was I was at a Hall of Fame ceremony for a basketball program for myself, and I got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And my dad was there, and I wanted them there. And this DJ starts playing this music, and he got up and started dancing by himself.
He knew.
And I was like, "What the? Like, what
He
is going
knew.
on?"
He knew. He
But that
knew.
was
He
way
saw it.
before we had diagnoses. That was way before
He knew.
all of it.
He
And it was
knew.
weird.
His body was telling him.
It's just so crazy.
His body was telling him. My parents knew how to dance and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
listen to Spanish music, soca music, Haitian music. When they
Mm-hmm.
didn't get classical music, jazz music, we listen to everything in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And my dad was the party, not life of the party, barely drink. I never seen my
Mm-hmm.
dad fucked up, never seen him drunk, ever,
Mm-hmm.
never seen him smoke a cigarette, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen him drink a beer maybe once.
Mm-hmm.
He never had a pair of jeans in his life. You understand what I'm saying? He never had a
Yeah.
pair of jeans in his life. If he did
Mm-hmm.
yard work, he did it in slacks. That's the old school type shit.
Mm-hmm.
He was very concerned with the way that you carried yourself.
Mm-hmm.
He taught me how to speak, right? How to articulate yourself. He made me stand in the middle of Thanksgiving and, say the prayer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Forcing you to articulate your words and to speak. That's why I always joke with you, like me putting pen to paper will take me forever. Me talking in front of 5,000 people, I probably feel much more comfortable. And that's directly because of him. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But, I think if he looked back now, he probably would be like, oh, Joel was way too serious. Like I raised a monster. What the hell? I said, take care of your mom. I didn't say like become an assassin, right? Because he was sick for almost 10 years with cancer. It just
Mm-hmm.
kept like running around and spreading, and they kept cutting and yada yada yada. My dad never did chemo. My dad never did chemo, right? So for 10 years, he's like, yo, if anything ever happens to me, stay in school. What are you gonna do with a kid that you tell that to a kid for 10 years straight?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Every conversation, Terrence, no matter what happens when we stay in school, click. You joke on the phone, scream on me on the phone, laugh on the phone, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, bye. No matter what, Terrence, that's how you end the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. You create a monster. You
Mm-hmm.
literally create someone who becomes a complete assassin. And then when they're done, your mother's looking at you like, what the hell? Like, okay, we did. Thank you, Joel. You did it. Could you
Mm-hmm.
just go live your life now?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I always respected you. Like you had the ability to maneuver in those situations. I didn't. I'm too rigid. I was too rigid with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the girl I date now calls me on it every fucking time. Every time because you have two walls that are hitting, and your mom was trying to tell you at the end. It's just they tried to tell you in their own way. Like, hey man, pivot.
Right.
This is how you do it. This is what you do now. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So that's why I always respected you for being able to pivot like that. Because not me, bro. That's fight or flight syndrome. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Like it's tough. I think with my mom, I think I was her mirror, right? Like I learned how I give to people, how I'm there for people, how I quote unquote counsel people, how I'm, you know, able to talk to people, that compassion, that empathy, that grace,
Yeah.
a lot of that came from her. Um, in terms of, just what I've seen in my life with her. Like I've seen her give her last money to people. I've seen her give the shirt off her back. I've seen her get people to church, get people baptized, right? And she's wasn't as um, you know, I'm a lot more extroverted than my parents. So I don't know where I got
Yeah.
that from, but I'm a lot more extroverted than both of them. But I've seen my mom do a lot of incredible things, right, with people, and I think how I've approached life with people is a direct correlation to her.
Yeah.
And I mirrored a lot of my life like that because I
Yeah.
grew
Same
up
thing.
with it and I saw it, right? And I was
Same
like,
thing. Yeah.
man, the impact that she's had on people, wow, right? That is amazing stuff, and hence where I am. And then crazy enough, though, crazy enough, when my dad passed, I started to hear more stories I've never heard before.
Mhm.
He's never bothered to tell me these things, right? About him, about how he was when he was younger. And then they would tell me, "Oh, your dad was kind of like the life of the party. Like he was so cool, man." Like, and I'm like, "Huh? That's not the guy I met." Like, like he didn't care. Like the guy by the time I came around, he didn't care about fashion. He didn't care about nothing, right? But then I would see old school pictures, and man got the level, the slacks, the turtlenecks, and all that, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then knowing that he was a Sunday school teacher, right? Just different things you learn
Yeah.
about that, and I'm like, whoa. And the one thing that I've tried to mirror from my dad, amongst other things, is he was a person who was the ability to keep his composure.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Um, like he was like very much so like right in a time where I was very
All over the place.
like
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
and a part of that even got that I think I got a little bit of that from my mother, right? So I kind of took the good and the bad, right? My mom was very much so a little bit more emotional about things, and so like a lot of times it's how I
It's
was.
hot and
But
cold in here. Yeah. Yeah. It's this shit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And my
Hmm.
dad through it all was very even keel.
God
And
bless that man.
and I took that as I've gotten older, and I'm like, that's the sweet spot.
That God bless that man. Not in this.
Like,
Uh.
yeah, right.
Uh.
No matter what has happened, like bad. I mean, but drastically bad. And I'm not saying he never got upset. Of course he has, obviously, right? But that even keelness, that stoic, that presence of just okay, so what it is, what do we do, right?
I would give anything to have that quality. I swear that I can. I have it. I don't. I am not the friend that you call for small problems. I am
Mm-hmm.
the friend that you call for major problems. My tool chest does not include delicate knives.
Mm-hmm.
Sledgehammers, I have shotguns, right? I
Yeah.
don't have the precision surge. Like I don't, that is not in my repertoire. I can
Mm-hmm.
withstand major catastrophes happening. But the way you just described your father is a quality I wish my dad had and I wish I had. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
no, the thing is, my dad was usually very calm. The problem was my mother did not care, right? You told my mother something. My mother was
Mm-hmm.
highly intelligent. So you tell my mother something and she don't agree with you. She don't agree with you. And you could be
Yep.
100% right. And if
Mm-hmm.
you argue with a woman, it don't matter at that point. Once you lose her, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you lose someone at a certain point of communication,
Mm-hmm.
and my
Oh yeah.
mother was like completely just shut down and walk away. Like, my mother would walk away from you mid conversation. And my dad would just lose it because the logic's out the door. There's no more. Remember, cerebral assassin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if 1 + 1 = 2, and I'm telling you it equals 2, and you're telling me now it doesn't equal 2, I malfunction. That
Mm,
I got that from him. So the God
mm.
bless your father for I that is a quality that I pray I'm able to develop over time because life is so much easier.
Yeah, and I think I had to learn how to develop all of
Oh,
that, right? Because
oh,
I was sometimes like when like you start to like I started to like see myself change in certain aspects of my life and not in a good
mhm.
way. Again, I became a little bit more angrier with a lot of different things in life at a point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it was so stressful, like where you feel it where it's like this isn't good.
I
Like this
had an
isn't
ulcer.
mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Trust me,
Yeah.
I know.
So at some point I said there's gotta be something. And so then when I said I gotta be something different. Then when I look at my dad, he thought to really study this man. All right. As I got older, I'm like, this man had 3 different types of cancer and has dealt with seeing his wife have cancer. Is because me, I almost died as a kid. So almost, he almost watched me die. See his wife have breast cancer. His wife had a brain aneurysm and has almost been into a diabetic coma multiple times. So he's
Right.
watched all of these things and still worked as hard as he did, still was there for the family, and never seen him out the pocket.
That's a man.
Like,
That right there.
right.
That's the purest definition.
And I'm like,
And think
man.
about it, right? Your dad probably could have whooped anybody ass if he wanted. With that background, your pops could have
Mm-hmm.
whooped anybody ass at any point. If you just came back as a hothead,
Oh.
he would have laid everybody out. There's certain people I don't mess with. Military people, I do not mess with these people. They are trained to bust your ass. So think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Your dad was stoic
Mm-hmm.
and through all of those situations remained as even killed. God bless that man. I There's certain traits that God gives you. That's not one of them that he gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I can stay calm in certain situations, but man,
And that's when I said, I want a little bit of that.
yeah.
I don't know if I could achieve as the level of what he had, but I want a little bit of that.
See, my mother had it.
Mm-hmm.
See, my mom
It's
knew how
flipped.
to not let people get to her because she would just
Right.
walk away from the situation. My mother would bang on me, right? Like she would like I'd be on the phone talking to Era. My mother would be like, I don't want to talk to you no more. Click.
Mm-hmm.
It's what? Did you just hang up the phone on me? Mind you, she's going through cancer treatment and she's still clicking on me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like my mother took her calmness more from a faith standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was her thing. It was
Mm-hmm.
that vibe that she had is just that. Don't get me wrong, she probably lose her cool, but most of the times it was just I don't. My mother had this thing of saying she didn't want to get involved in other people's business.
Mm-hmm.
But walk through this door. This is not a republic. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. You walk through this house. It's her rules. You don't like it, like I said, you could leave. But when you leave, I'm not going to get involved in what you got going on.
Mm.
So that's how I think she stayed her calm. Like my mom took the literal term of mind your business. Mind your business now seems like an insult. Back in the day, that's not what it meant. Mind your business means minding to your business. Whatever your
Mm-hmm.
business was of the day, you minded to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You took care of your business. That's what mind your business. My mother took that literally.
Mm.
I took care of what need to take care of, take care of my family, but I stay calm. My pops, same thing, but someone could just get to him. At least like I said, my mom sure as hell
Yeah, I
could.
think it was a little flipped. So it's like yin yang for us because my dad was more so the person, people that like, he like, oh, whatever. Like he didn't, like, when I say he really didn't care, no, when I say like he really didn't care, like, nah, he really didn't care.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. Because he knew. I think there's a difference as a man when you know you can beat everybody ass. I really do think that. I think sometimes you just know I can kill this person, so let me relax. I don't got to scream and yell. I just got to know if you raise your hand at me, something crazy or something stupid, I'm probably gonna leave you in a coma. God bless that man. Seriously,
possibly
God
so.
bless that man.
Possibly so. And I think all of these things that you tend to learn and emulate, and you hope to make them proud, but then also, you got to be who you are too,
Yeah,
and I think that's the fine line is, okay, so what did you see, right? Like, and you don't have to answer this, but it's just like, for me, I always looked at, like, all right, so what do I see that, what could I have done better and or differently from them to
one hundred
keep the
percent.
good things, but then kind of leave whatever was bad behind. And how can I now incorporate my good things and what I want to do and be my own person, right? And enhance, right, what they have given us,
Yeah,
right?
well, she was stubborn. You don't want to be that stubborn, right? So you get to see that in real time and not have to react the same way. Your
Mm-hmm.
dad, was highly intelligent, but again, if 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 one plus one equals two, and you're telling me it equals three,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for him to see why he may be incorrect. Right? My dad, like I said, was so intelligent, but it was he never. I used to tell my parents all the time, if you guys just communicated properly, we would be filthy rich.
Mm.
Whether it was buying multiple houses or keeping this house, we would have been filthy rich
Mm-hmm.
because my mom barely wanted to spend money and my dad really didn't like. My dad liked to dress well, but he wasn't flashy.
Right.
You know the
Mm-hmm.
difference, right? Like he wasn't flashy,
He's
but he
not
liked
you.
to dress
Right.
well. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying like he wasn't flashy. Even my personal style is more subdued, right? I'd rather be the 1920s gangster, right? In the back suited. I'd rather be like the
I know you don't, Joel. I know you.
you see
You
me in
know
purple
I.
suits.
No, I'm not saying how to
Oh,
be
so you
purple
see me in
suits, but
green
what
suits,
I
you see
am
me out here
saying,
blocking
we used
stupid
to be
shit.
in the Wallabies. We used to be in a certain shoot.
I wore hush puppies. You
Hush
wore what?
puppies. Tomato, tomato. Okay, what I'm telling
No,
you.
no, no, no. Y'all had that stupid unicorn fucking V-shaped shoe. I had a shoe. Mine had a shoe. You had foam bottoms. I never
Yes,
understood that.
yes, but I also wore, but in my defense, I wasn't one of those people, right, who wore just Wallabies and hush puppies.
Right. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, but like in
I
you,
had my.
if you really think about style,
Mm-hmm.
mine is more subdued. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hope so.
In high school, I'd like to think you was a little bit more flashy.
I wore a vest,
Mm-hmm.
but I still knew how
And
to
you,
match.
yeah. Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, you match your colors very
Yeah, that's
nicely. I
not
remember a
flash.
couple of. I remember a couple of little bright colors in there, if I'm not
I
mistaken,
like
bro.
orange. I had an orange
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
I did
I
like
know I'm
orange.
not crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time to attract dinner, like, no, no, man, no, 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 no. I can't. Nah, man, nope. I
No,
never had gators. I never had.
no,
Never.
you didn't.
Man.
No, no.
I've always, at least my personality has always been. I'd rather be the gangster in the background nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
This is extremely well,
Yeah,
right? I'd rather be him, right? Most of the time, not that person. I 100% agree. Usually, I'm the guy in the middle. I'm dancing, huh? But if
yeah,
you ask
yeah.
me my personal opinion, especially now as I get older, yeah, I'd rather be the guy in the background. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather be the one that got all like everything's taken care of, everything's fine, but I don't need it. I don't need the attention.
Until the dance floor come until the music come on, and then
I
that's
mean,
when everything changes.
people are shocked that I used to dance. People do
Yeah.
not believe me.
Oh, I know, because people don't believe me either,
They sit dog.
and I'm
They
like,
really don't believe we used to put speakers
how?
in the windows, and
Yeah.
you battle someone broad daylight. And if you lost in front of a girl, Jesus Christ, you're embarrassed. You're done for.
Mm-hmm.
I have people like, thank God we didn't have social media. There's people probably like, you'd probably punch me in the face by now. Yeah, bring the tape up. Like, are you serious? Think about
Yeah.
it. Think about all all the crazy shit we used to do with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. And
try to
people,
imagine.
yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm like not even that far removed. Like I might be like COVID year removed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause that's when everything kind of slowed up where I was like, like whatever.
Do you
Right.
know? Do you know COVID slowed me down completely to the point where I don't even like going to soca parties no more?
That's nuts. Cause you used to be in all the soca parties.
Do you know? I don't
And
even.
I did
It
too.
doesn't. There's no. I was telling somebody this the other today, right? COVID took 2 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
My mother took another 2 years, approximately.
Yep.
So for 4 years, everything that I used to do that I was normally accustomed to doing got
Mm-hmm.
taken away from me. My favorite bar taken away. Um, like the things I used to do, like I didn't get to do them as much. So now when it's like, yo, there's a party over there. Nah, I don't want to go. I'll go to
It's a
cigar,
tough thing.
but nah, I don't want to.
It's a tough thing.
Yeah,
Like I
man.
used to dress up everywhere all the time. People know that about me. And it's like the last few years has just been like it just
But
a different
here's the
type of
thing.
feel.
Here's the thing I would challenge you and anybody else who's watching this. The problem with us men now is we're too comfortable. We're too comfortable blending it with everybody around us, right? If you think about it, back in the day, you knew who men were and who the boys were based on what they wore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody looks the fucking same.
And I think
You
a
got
big part of that with
poverty.
me was COVID. Like
Yeah, because you're
because
just bumming out at home.
it was COVID and then I got these and then you get a remote job and then yeah, I'm home. I'm not in the office, right? Like everything shifts. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that goes along with just what people are going through. And sometimes I think people, when they go through a lot of just different changes and things and grief, I think sometimes that changes people. Like, you don't
Oh,
feel like,
100%. Yeah, you don't feel like being presentable. And I think that's something that you feel better when you look better,
oh,
right?
I
You
know.
look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Deion Sanders, right? Like
Yep.
that 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 that's a vibe for me, right? I'm as
Mm-hmm.
guilty as anybody else. You can see me broad daylight on a regular day in my sweats in a hoodie in my neighborhood. It is what it is. I'm as
Mm-hmm.
guilty as anybody. But I made sure to redo my wardrobe so that when I do go to the city, I'm still dressed up. And when my coworkers say, "Damn, I don't know you guys dressed up," my response is, "If you're gonna have me here, I'm gonna at least look good coming in."
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'll be the unicorn that if you look on the subway, I mean, well, not subway where you are, but like or even when you come visit, look around.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks the fucking same. Ladies, I don't understand how you guys date.
Uh-oh.
No, real talk. Everybody looks the same. Everybody got the same Jordan, same jeans, same. Everybody looks the same. I can't. Nobody got double bunks anymore. Nobody wears fedora. Nobody does anything. Nobody has style. Nobody has class. Everybody looks the same. You go to a club, everybody got those stupid ass tight jeans with the black shirts. I'm over it. I'm over it. Stupid grills. Don't get me started, man. Do not get me started. Jesus Christ. I
It's an
can't.
interesting thing though, because I think the era of people dressing up even in clubs and stuff, it's over, right?
Dressing up
Like,
for dates.
hmm?
Dressing up for dates. Think about taking your girl out. You're trying to get buns and you still don't dress up. Why do you think I'm going in my cologne collection so heavy?
Mm-hmm.
This is not just entertainment, by the way, right? Part of it
Mm-hmm.
is I got into that. But part
Yeah.
of it is
Yeah.
hopefully people seeing this is how you are supposed to conduct yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if you looked at how I started doing social media recently, I would challenge you to do the same thing. When you get on camera, be dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you got pajama pants on, put on something. You should look
Mm-hmm.
like this most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Force yourself so that now the generation behind you, the Terrences that are at a certain age, they're looking at you like, yo, I like his fedora. That shit fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Be that so that I started doing that now. So like when I come upstairs, I'll drag my fucking suit upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
there, there's a there is a serious problem with men being men in today's society. There is a serious problem physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There is that's why I say, God bless your father.
Hmm.
God bless that man, because that is the quintess. That man knew he could whip anybody ass at any point. My kids, anyone. My wife is losing her mind over here. She is emotional. She's a hot cannon. And I can stay here
Hmm.
and still conduct myself a certain way and still stand with a certain posture and still conduct. Man, I we are afraid to be men in today's society, and it bothers the hell out of me. From the way we look, the way we dress, the way we act, the way we talk, it bothers me.
Hmm. I think I think we gotta
Like,
look at it.
do you
Go
think
ahead.
about like I don't know? Do you see it that way, or am I just bugging?
So I think each era had something, right? So I think, and it drove the older people crazy,
100%.
right? So I think for us, I'm sure like that baggy pants sagging generation,
Jesus
right?
wept. Oh, during my
Well, but these are the but that was ours. We gotta own that one,
yeah,
right?
but you were
And
still a
people,
man at that time, even if
yeah,
you
but
dressed crazy.
oh no, no, because if you ask somebody who was our age now, looking at us, then they would say something is wrong with these kids. Like something is wrong with these men.
Fair,
Something is wrong with these,
fair.
right?
I can dig that.
Right? Like it's, who wears their pants like this? Who wears sizes three, sizes too big? Who wears these pants sagging off there behind them where you can see their drawers? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I would do at 40 years old. I dress like a man, right? And that was ours until we grew up. And then now the difference with me and you is we always had a love though. See, that's the thing. I always had a love for fashion, for suits, for things like that, to dress a certain way. I always had the eye. I always had this thing, even as a kid. Even if I dressed down, one day I could literally have pants sagging off my butt when I was 16 years old. I could. Pants three times too bigger than me. Saturday, when I'm getting ready to do whatever it is that I got to do, Terrence can put on a suit. Like it was a two-way thing for me.
But see, I don't see it as just fashion. You were always still a man.
Yeah.
Whether you had the jeans low, whether you had the suit on, the way you conducted yourself in public was still a certain level of integrity.
Right. That's
I
that's true.
don't see that the same, right? I would argue that, and maybe I'm just too serious about it, and clearly I'm realizing this. Thank you, therapy, right? Like,
Right.
but in today's society, we as men don't hold ourselves to a certain standard of responsibility. You were still responsible, no matter if the jeans were off your fucking pants and off your ass or not.
Mm-hmm.
You still had a responsibility. You still had integrity. You still walk in your mom's house. You better hug her or you're gonna get backslapped,
That's
right? No matter how thug you were outside, when you walked in that house,
different.
it's
Yeah.
your mom's house, mom's rules,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it's, and I hate to be like, oh, everybody's looking at the other generation. Nah, man. Ours was crazy, but you still had the old heads who was like, yo, chill. You still had the boom, 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 the baba, like you still had people, you still had OGs. Where
Mm,
are the OGs?
that's us.
Our generation is really lacking a lot of them.
That's us, bro.
No, no, I'm saying besides us,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
what OGs?
mm-hmm.
How many people you know of your age and your caliber running around like it's not there, bro. I'm
Mm,
seeing it. It's not there. I look. I don't see
mm,
it the same, and it's sad. And remember, maybe I'm taking it too seriously, but it's sad.
Some people would say
How
it's the old heads is always hating on the young heads.
you gonna hate on something you don't want to be?
Yee, I get it.
I ain't gonna hate on something I don't want to be. I want you to be better than what you are,
Hmm. It's
right?
always it's always
Like,
been that debate every generation, from sports to music to everything. It's the young and the old.
no, I'm not saying the young. I'm not arguing against the young. I'm arguing against the
Hmm.
mature.
Mature. Got you.
There's a difference. Just because you're old doesn't mean that you're mature. Just
That's a
because you're
fact.
old doesn't mean that you're man. Right? It doesn't mean anything like that. And we live in a society now where you don't know what the classification of a man is, right? But I don't mean the young generation. I'm fun. Yeah, 18, 17, do the stupid shit that I used to do. Have fun. But at there is there's something missing outside of the normal day-to-day process of an adolescence.
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but there's something missing. You still went outside.
Oh yeah.
Now we on social media all day long. These people don't know how to talk in public. You could still
That's that's
speak
the
back
one
then.
thing. Yeah. Like I don't see
You
kids
still know how
outside a
to
lot.
think about it. You still know how to conduct yourself if you walked into a church.
Hmm.
You still know to shut the hell up and move out the way and let an elderly person sit down on the bus.
Hmm. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. There's something outside of the adolescence of what we dealt with that's gone. And I don't know how to articulate it, but it's not something's not right.
I mean, it's crazy because it's funny you said that about outside and the kids because I remember uh me and my girl was eating and I saw a kid like zoom by in the bike. I said, baby, hey, look. I said, look. I said, yo, I
Riding
said,
a bike.
you look at the boy on the bike. I said, that's mad cool. Right. And I shouldn't have been that excited to see somebody on a bicycle. Right. Because it reminded me of my youth. It reminded me of what a kid was. Right. And I think now it's people are on social media. These kids have YouTube pages making millions of dollars. You know, it's a different breed of kids now, especially. Seem to be
You
a
know
lot
what it is
smarter
too?
too. Jesus.
They're smarter, but there's no personal responsibility.
Right.
The definition of maturity is when you accept responsibility for the things that happen to you,
Right.
good and bad.
Yeah.
In this generation, they're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody else's problem. I'm in debt, it's the government's problem, right? It's the rich people problem. It's this, it's that. It's not you, it's them. And I think if I was to pinpoint what my nerve is, it's that. It's not the I'm at fault. I do
Mm-hmm.
that constantly with myself. And let me tell you something, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there is no accountability for those people, right? They don't look at themselves. It's their parents, it's society, it's the government, it's Israel, it's Hamas, it's this, it's that, it's everybody else, right? You want everybody to get their stuff together. And these are the smartest people in the world. They have the answers to everything, but they don't even have the answers to how to clean their own room.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that's the nerve for me. There's
Mm-hmm.
something missing.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like it's just that is that's scary to me. That
Mm.
again, that one is the one that irks me the most because I think we're doing a problem. I think not doing a problem, but like we're gonna encounter a problem that is going to be very hard to fix because people like me and you are not going to be able to get to them.
Right.
Because what am I going to tell them? Like, think about it. What am I going to tell them? Like, yo, that girl broke my heart. What did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Was she just a piece of shit, or did you do something?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, oh, I have all these options on Instagram. What did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I failed the test. What did you do? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, teacher was
Mm-hmm.
trash. No, no, no. What did you do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think accountability is key. Um, in all situations. You know, even if it is the majority of another person's fault, right? Take for instance, like divorce, right? It's even if it wasn't your fault or your doing, you could take a look back at what it was, right? Even taking accountability for you missing the red flags or for you overlooking the red flags, even if it was them, even if they did this, did that, which is could be an absolute fact. That's
Correct.
cool. But what did you overlook in this process, right? That you probably know you overlooked some of these red flags.
I'll tell you right now. You what we talked right before. Oh, I won't bring it up. Fuck that. I'm telling you right now, in the middle of it, no matter what happens in my situation, I have accepted responsibility. I have to. You don't date someone long distance for 10 years and expect it to just roll over and work. No. You have to accept responsibility for what happens and be comfortable with the outcome, regardless of what it is. But you know what you're not comfortable with? Not trying. See,
Mm-hmm.
to me, your divorce is not a mistake
Right.
because you chose. No one put a gun to your head. Not one person, right? Think about this for a second. Imagine you did not know the end of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you did not know the end of the story of how that was going to break up.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said, no, Terrence, you can't date her. You would have punched that person right in the face. Even
Right.
if they
Right.
were right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my guilt, not my guilty pleasure, but you know what the thing that has haunted me my whole life? It doesn't matter if you're right. You still got to let the person do what they want,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's the
100%.
accountability. That's the accountability. So for me, it's like you could have looked at the red flags. You could have looked at everything up to that point, and maybe you should have. Doesn't matter. All that matters is did you learn? What did you
Yeah.
learn?
Yeah.
Because without
Mm-hmm.
that, you don't get what you have now.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because during the process, and that's the thing with accountability though, is if you can look at your own self for a second as this imperfect person, because I know everybody's on and everybody got it and everybody's is the ish. I get it. Right. Now I get it.
You're gonna make me
Everybody
curse on you.
is.
You're gonna make me curse on your podcast, man.
So but this is where we're at a lot. Social media, this is the age, right? Everybody's on and everybody has this thing, right? And
You
everybody has the
lying?
golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
If you could take a look at yourself in an honest way, right? And see, even if something didn't work out that wasn't your fault, hey, you know what? I could do better here next time, or I could do better in this piece, or I could do better in that,
Yeah.
right? If we can stop the God complex a lot,
No, it's a
right?
narcissism.
I
100%.
think a lot of times we can actually be better people and be better individuals, even if someone wronged us. I think sometimes when somebody wrongs us, it's like, oh, well, they did this, their fault. I ain't do this, I ain't do that. Cool.
Get
And
back in.
then, right,
Yeah.
right. But then you don't take a minute to say, you know what? What could I do better next time for someone else? Right. Or are you going to take your same old bad habits, thinking it's God's gift to everyone, into the next one? Right. And
Or
then keep,
I'll take
and
it.
that's a
I'll take it a
problem.
step further. I'll take it a step further. Maybe you're the lame,
Could be
right?
facts.
Maybe you're the lame, right? Like if you ever sat back and was like, "Oh shit, maybe I fucked up." Like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I was like, "That's fucked." That okay, damn, I was wilding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most people don't allow themselves to see the other side of their greatness, which is their faults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your social media, you said it best. Social media, everybody's doing well. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they're fucking lying. Right? These people are bullshitting, completely 100% bank on it. These people are
Mm-hmm.
lying. You know how I know? Because the people you look up to come in my DMs crying. Okay, because life is about to break down on them, but they got the Louis shoes and all this kind of crap. They're lying. And I think you said it best, that God complex, right? Where remember I told you before, I think we're getting to the point.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's no accountability for the things that happen. Only
Mm-hmm.
when it's good though. When it's good, it's me. When it's bad,
Oh
it's you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
There's a one of the reasons why when you asked me who am I, and I said Maud's son, is because she realigned for me the priorities in life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand, when I walked through this house when she was sick, I realized very quickly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, this is not a lie. When I walked through that door and I saw my mother sick and having to go through everything, I realized I love my mother more than God. That was a true story. And my mother said, no, no, no. We are not going to do it like this, right? You're not going to put me in front. I'm going to show you how we're going to pivot this. And the minute I did that, that's when you start holding yourself accountable.
Mm.
When there's a higher power that you respond to, your shit do stink.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you know every day you ask for humility. Every day you ask for forgiveness. We don't ask for forgiveness in our society because we don't think we're the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
really think about it, the rates as to which people attend a service, forget church, has been decreasing over time. Now we can look at point at a bunch of different things because of that. Some
Mm-hmm.
corrupt bullshit, to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you. But there is a direct I would tie, if I had to and I had the time, a direct correlation between the ability of having a higher power to respond to and the ability to think that you are not the problem. There is a direct correlation between it because nothing's holding you accountable. Look, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, look now, right? Think about what you just said. Yo, I wish I had picked up the red flags and all that. No. Yeah, of course you can wish. I could wish I played the lottery. And the fuck, like, it doesn't matter. What really
Mm-hmm.
matters is, did you learn? Because if
Yeah.
you learned and you're humble enough to realize you're not always right. There's an alarm that goes off on my phone. I think it still does. Every day at like 11. I was arguing with my ex, and she's like, "Oh, you always think you're right," and I had to remind myself, "You're not always right."
Mm-hmm.
The person who thinks they're always right is the dumbest person in the room.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's where I think doing the work is where it starts. I think there's a lot of things like you mentioned forgiveness. We don't ask for forgiveness and things like that. But I also feel like we're not thankful either,
100%.
right?
Yeah,
I think I think sometimes we take small things, and I won't even say small, but we take certain things for granted that could be considered small in your eyes, right? Not you, but just people, right? Like, and then because of that, it creates a cycle, right? Of you don't even appreciate where you are in life,
yes,
right? Because lives. We know this. We know life
100%.
gets disgusting, bro.
Yeah,
Like it is
yeah,
what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once those times come, it's like you're really not thankful for where you are in life. You haven't been thankful. You haven't been grateful, right? Just the small mercies, right? Of just waking up in the morning. Do you have your health? Can you walk a block or two? Right? Do you have a car? Do you have a
Can you
job?
move your bowels in peace?
Right. Right. Can you get out of bed?
Facts.
Right. These are small things for people, but they're huge. Right. So now when trials come, it's nothing is going right in life. Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing at all. Right. And you kind of are used to not being grateful and thankful that it's like now it's piling on. So nothing at all in my life is good. It's good. And not saying that what you're going through is not hard, because it probably is. And there's a lot of things that's going on in people's life that's crazy.
yeah,
But for a lot of us, the simple things in life, man, thank God I wake up. Thank God for waking up to see a new day in the morning. Right? What
yeah.
do we do, most people, when you wake up in the morning?
Check your phone.
After you turn off your alarm, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. All right. So who texted me? Okay. All right. Well, let me check out social media and stuff like that. Right.
yeah.
So when that happens, right, you're taking the thankfulness out of it, right? And then you get busy with work. So you don't have time to be thankful. You don't have time to be grateful. Then you get home. If you got kids, you got the kids. You damn sure can't be grateful. Like you got a lot of people have a lot of stuff, right? So I know for a fact if we're like this with ourselves, I know we are like this in your friendships, in your relationships.
Yes,
You're not
100%.
grateful for the person you have, for the friends you have. You're not thankful for that partner that
Yes.
you have that 2 years ago you was praying for a text back.
And
Now
now
you're in a full blown relationship, and now you're like,
and now you got a problem with it, you dummy. Like you sat there and complained and cried and bitched and moaned and you prayed for this, you get it in front of you and you take it for granted. I'm
yeah,
telling you, I am telling you, people, there is when my mother was sick, I remember one of the things that happened specifically was I did find the lectures from Jordan Peterson. If you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, okay, fine, yeah, he's probably conservative. Get over it. Go watch his videos on his discussions as probably an atheist on the book of Genesis, and it'll change your life. And what you start to realize, and I mean this, is the Old Testament God did not play that shit. Okay. And you did, the people were so ungrateful for things that happened during that period that you saw the wrath of God when he's completely frustrated. That's
mm-hmm.
scary, right? Because it's not, oh, you're a Christian. If okay, read the New Testament. My favorite depiction of Jesus is not him coming in on a donkey with the palms. That's cute. That's very nice. My depiction
Mm-hmm.
of Jesus is when he flipped the tables and started whipping people in the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What does that tell you? Don't mess around in my father's house. Right? We don't hold ourselves accountable, and we are not thankful for the things we are given every day. My
Yeah.
mother's death allowed me to see that she still gave her thanks. I have pictures on my phone of my mother in a frail body in the church or watching her mass on TV, and how she
Mm-hmm.
prayed and still got on her knees until she could no longer do it
Mm-hmm.
every day, thanking God for another day. I remember looking at her and saying, Mom, I have no idea why you're still here. But whatever it is you're here for, keep praying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing. Like, seriously, I don't know how you're still here, but keep praying, whatever it is. We are not thankful for the things that we are given. We are communicating via electricity. You
Mm-hmm.
have water, you have clothes on, you have the technology around you, you have the nice books. There's probably a painting or a picture above your head. There's a few pictures on your bookcase. I am
Mm-hmm.
sitting in a house that I'm about to buy. I have a brand new fedora. I have stuff on my arms. These are things that we take for granted. We're just supposed to have it,
Because I worked for it and I did
right?
right. That's
Yeah, like you work for it.
mm-hmm.
No. Because anything that you think you've worked for can be taken from you. The things that you have as gifts are internal. Who are you with a nothing?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what you always wanted to figure out who you are. When nobody's around, who are you? Right? I know I can be extremely robotic when nobody's around me, but them rosaries is around here.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I still keep them around. I still do what I got to do. I still pray. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything, but if you feel like you're a person who isn't grateful, ask God for the ability to be humble. When you hear someone tell you don't be humble, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely bullshit, because that means they've never really felt the awesomeness of what happens when God decides to humble you. And when that happens, I told you, I know what humbling felt like. That's has
Mm-hmm.
happened twice in my life where I've been brought to my knees, like, all right, you got it. I'm not gonna argue with you no more.
Mm-hmm. You know when people say so, I think it's twofold. So it's funny that you say that because you sound like my girlfriend because she hates arrogant people. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, it must be a finance thing.
Yeah, to get
So
along with me, that's crazy. I'm joking. So I'm
no,
not that bad. I'm not.
no, but like she loves like humbleness and things like that. I think where this stems from, where people say don't be humble, especially in our community, especially, I think is because historically that's what you were told to be, right? Or
Don't
even
be a servant.
lower,
Yeah, yeah. Don't be.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And I think so now I think it's at a point where people, especially people of color, it's like, nah, I'm here, bruh. Because the
yeah.
way that y'all be barking, the way y'all
Correct.
be barked at us for whatever y'all did for years and years and years, and I'm not gonna go back to what that was, but it's almost like if I'm in this boardroom, I'm arrogant, bro, and y'all gonna feel this thing like how we felt it, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
felt a lot of this heat, like we were felt lower than low. So now, when we get our degrees and when we get our money and when we get our positions of power,
you want to flex.
we're gonna flex because
Hmm.
we couldn't for years. Y'all try
Yeah,
to keep us in a chokehold for years, put your foot on our necks, right? For years. So now what? Now we
yeah.
gonna flex. Arrogant, not arrogant, whatever that is. That's the type of time we on.
Well, I think I'm fine with you being able to express how qualified you are for whatever role that you're talking about. I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. What I always concern myself, and I had to learn this the same way, but what I always concern myself with is when you think you're the smartest person in the room,
Yeah. You're
you're
not.
probably the dumbest,
Yeah. You're definitely not.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like that American gangster thing, right? The
Yeah.
person who's the
Classic.
loudest in the room
Mm-hmm.
is the weakest,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you have to tell me how good you are, you're not that good.
Mm-hmm.
That was always the LeBron and Kobe, and not Kobe thing. Well, Kobe too, but LeBron and Jordan thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan never had to tell you publicly, at least, that he was better than you. He never had to do that. If you ever see an interview of him, he's always saying he's giving props to people who came before him.
Yeah.
LeBron, on several occasions, has said, no, he thinks, this made him the GOAT, or this is why he
Mm-hmm.
felt he was the best. If you have to say it, you're not. And that's
So I
where,
can,
like, this to me, that's that. And again, I think it's also the religious aspect of it for me too. It's like, I'm just read how many times people have been humbled.
and I
I, I
but
don't need that target.
and I think that's also where people would say that people have used, especially certain types of people, has used religion to keep black people
Oh yeah, you could
right
say that.
humble,
Yeah, you
quote
could say
unquote
that.
humble, right?
Yeah,
Down through the years, right? To instill fear and to instill a lot of these things,
yeah.
right? So I think a lot of it now is just it's rebellion, right? Against a lot of things that has happened,
The
I
institution.
think, to us, right? And I think and I'm always torn with the humble and the arrogant part of just life because yes, I think we should all be humble. I think we should, and then there's a part of me that's like, I get people who once they get certain things and they accomplish, it's like y'all can't say nothing. No. Like I'm here and I'm here to stay. Because for years, people could afford to be arrogant. The only people who couldn't afford to be arrogant was us. We
Yeah,
had to be the humble
that's
ones.
fair.
We had to be the forgiving ones. We had to
Yeah,
be the ones that turned two, three different cheeks,
yeah.
right? Because I always said, I wonder what would happen one day when black people get fed up and decides not to be so forgiving.
Correct.
What would happen,
Yeah,
right? So it's a very interesting tide of balance. I think it's a tightrope of balance of like, okay, humble and confidence, right? Doesn't have to lead to arrogance at all. But sometimes
I
I
think the
think sometimes I
confidence.
can understand how people are because Michael Jordan was arrogant as all hell too,
Yeah, no, he
right?
was, but he
He
backed
wouldn't
it
even
up.
sign autographs for kids a lot of
Yeah,
times.
but he
Like
backed he
hey,
backed it he backed it up. You know what I'm saying? I think
yes,
you hit the nail on the head though. It's not an argument about arrogance. It's the confidence and arrogance to me are two different things.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Confidence is telling you how good I am. The confidence is telling you that I'm going to do exactly what I said I'm going to do.
Mm.
Arrogance is telling you how good I'm going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? How great I am.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence is the job's going to get done.
Right. But I always ask the question though, if Jordan was arrogant, if Jordan told you he was the greatest, if he did, who could dispute it?
Right? You at that
Nobody.
point at that point nobody. But I think I look at it differently a little bit, right? So if you look at it from a racial perspective and you look at it, especially in our society, you can make the case, I think reasonably, that the religious institutions did not convey confidence per se. I had to take a look more into that, but I don't think they conveyed confidence to Black people because
Mm-hmm.
slavery existed not just in America. Slavery, existed
Yeah.
around the world. White,
Mm-hmm.
Chinese, Asians. There was slavery in Genesis. You just look for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 50,000 years ago, probably.
Yep.
So that's existed for a long period of time. But what I will say is there is when someone has been humbled by God, you don't humility starts when you fear God. Because once you fear God, you don't fear man. And when you don't fear man, you don't have to brag to him.
Mm.
Right? Wisdom starts with the fear of God. So as long as I keep my alignment appropriate, I don't have to worry about another man or a woman. I don't want to piss off a gender, right? Or 1,000.
Mm.
I probably just did. It's okay.
Mm. Mm.
But when you put God first as the anchor, right? The humility there, then I don't have to fear Terrence. If I don't have to fear Terrence, I don't gotta be arrogant towards him
Mm.
because I know what I'm confident in and I know the skills and stuff that I achieved, though I worked extremely hard for it, was based on the blessings that got me here.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one day I crossed the street, I could have got hit by a bus, came over.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think it's hard for Black people to balance that, right? Because we had the cornerstone of our communities was the church, right? That was the one thing we did have for a long period of time. And the problem was is a lot of those churches failed because they weren't really preaching the word of God. They were, a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
show a lot of times. And I think that's the problem. But with me,
Mm-hmm.
I try if I'm arrogant, I apologize a lot of times, but it just I until you're humbled, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. And I say humbled not by a person, but when God
Mm-hmm.
humbles you,
And I think that's the difference, right? I think the blurred lines of being humbled by God and being humbled by people, because for years we've been humbled by
humbled by
people,
people, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm
right?
saying. You don't fear nobody.
And so it's like now it's the bravado. So now it's we've been humbled for years. So yo, it's our time, right? And I think a lot of people feel like that. And so when people might say, "Man, Joel, damn man, like you've been humble for so many years, and now because of this, religion, and then now we got to be humble." Like it's always
It's always something to keep
it's
me quiet.
it's that is exactly what I was
Like
gonna
you
say.
gonna tell me for
It's
for
always.
for 400 years, you told me that I needed to be quiet because of religion I didn't believe in, and you took me from another country where I didn't believe in this religion in the first place. You brought me here. You beat me on it. You used it. Trust me, I can argue this whole thing. You
Mhm.
used something in the Bible to say that for some reason people who look like me are um supposed to be slaves, and you use the religious aspect from the Old Testament to do so. You spent 400 years to do it, and then all of a sudden, when we have the right to vote, you still keep us in captivity to be able to vote.
Mhm.
And then during the 1960s, you're sitting us, you're holding us down. You have a bunch of dogs chasing us all over the place. We have institutional racism all over the place. And now you're telling me the minute I have fucking money, Joel, be humble? Yes. Because, because at the end of the day, I do not fear man. I understand that my
Mm-hmm.
accomplishments right now are not just me.
Right.
It was given to me,
Right.
right? My gift was given to me. So take it and use it appropriately. Do not let people cross the line with you. Don't let people disrespect you. Do not let people take advantage of you. You are not a doormat. That does not mean that I have to convey my gifts in a way that I was the only one who achieved them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do that. I can.
No.
It feels good. Feels good. Feels good to
Yeah.
stun on people. Trust me, I get pissed off all the time when someone tries to tell me about finance. Right? After all the fucking work I did, you gonna tell me because you read something for 2 minutes on Instagram that now you what?
Right.
You gotta chill. Because at the end of the day, I think I'd rather be humble with God than to try and impress man. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think I was given one of those few opportunities where I could watch someone see the other side. And because I know it's there, that scares me. Right? Because I know my mother saw it and she allowed me to see it, I watched her reaction to seeing the other side. My mother was not scared, she was overwhelmed. That woman never in my life was overwhelmed. That's the first time I saw her overwhelmed. So I was like, whatever got her looking like that is real.
Mm.
So let me chill. Like it was, it's I get it. I understand why we as Black people, we as African Americans think the way we do. And that's not to say that you're a walking doormat. Just understand it could be taken away from you anytime the Lord feels like it. And if you don't believe me, just read the book of Job,
Oh yeah. That's a fact. And I
right?
guess some people would just say, like, especially our people would say, man, it's always us, never them. And I think that's where the frustration comes in
Well, it
because
depends.
it's always us and never them. I think that's the frustration, though.
Yeah, I think that's a fair frustration.
Yeah, I
Right.
think
I
that's
have to be humble. I can't have the yacht. I can't have the big car. I can't have the big house. I can't have the big jewelry. I can't have millions of dollars in my account. I can't have the golf membership. What are you talking about?
and they could be arrogant as,
They can be like, yeah,
and
but me,
but it's always us.
I think,
When they go low, we have to go high all the time. And I think
yeah, I
that
mean,
is the frustration.
I think that, yeah, I can understand the frustration behind it. I'm not that part. I can't argue against the frustration. All
Yeah.
I can argue is that doesn't absolve you from the requirement,
Mm-hmm.
right? To me. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that everybody has to believe in what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah.
the requirement for me is irregardless
Mm-hmm.
because there is something there. There's something more to this
Mm-hmm.
than what meets the eye in this material sense. And it's at the end of the day, allow yourself the ability to understand that this is just not you. And I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
just hate somebody just because of the color of the skin. And, like,
Yeah.
you give everybody an equal opportunity. I'm not saying, for
Mm-hmm.
the record, I'm not saying don't set it on people either, right? If
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
disrespects
Because you
you,
the last
like,
one. Yeah. You the last one to say
yeah,
that.
just like
Right?
lay them out. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm saying, just remember it could be taken away.
Oh yeah.
So don't be thankful to them, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying
Mm-hmm.
be thankful to them. I'm not saying, oh my God, thank you. No, no, no. I'm saying, oh my God, thank you,
Right.
because it could be taken away.
100%. 100%.
I
And
know
that's
it's not an unpopular opinion. I get it. I get it.
no. But it's a good perspective, and it's a good another good way for us to think about things because I know a lot of us struggle with that part of life. Um, especially when it comes to other things that has happened before, right? And I think a lot of us struggle with those things and those thoughts, and um, and how forgiving we must be, right, to other people, right? And I think
What's the
that's
alternative, though? I guess that was my question. What is the alternative? The
well,
alternative is what exactly?
well,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
what is the alternative?
well, so sometimes I think you run out of cheeks, and I think sometimes, and that's no pun intended, but you run out of of turning cheeks, right? You run out of whenever somebody does something to the community. Oh, forgive. God said, God is love. God is forgive. God says, forgive those. Right, right, right. Then you get things pointed at you, right? God is this. God is that. Please, right? And I think that's the frustration also, to where things can be unjust, especially towards the community. And it's like, oh well, forgiveness is it's for you, not for them. Forgiveness is this, right? You get the scriptures thrown at you, but it's like, where was the scripture when the injustice happened? You didn't say you didn't say anything about that before. You're only looking to us to forgive certain aspects of life because y'all messed up with a lot of different things. So now
Mhm.
it's wait. Before you tell it, just forgive us, please. Forgive us, forgive us, forgive us, forgive us. And it's like, where was that scripture? Did you think about scripture before you did what you did?
Right.
Or are you only looking at us to be the ones to always turn another cheek?
That's fair.
I
I
think
think,
that is some of the frustration, bro. It's like where the Bible scriptures before y'all was doing this stuff.
but I also think the word of God should still be followed regardless if another generation didn't. Right. I also think that, oh, well, scripture says you should forgive. Well, actually, it says a lot, but, it says, love God and love your neighbor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And treat others how
Mm-hmm.
you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Please also remember my favorite depiction of Jesus is not necessarily loving people,
Right.
flipping
Flip the
tables and
tables.
hitting people with whips.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite depiction of him. The guy who epitomized love understood there is a line you don't cross.
Right.
So I think I think that's why I asked is what is the alternative? Because if the alternative from a psychological standpoint is to treat them exactly the same way, then you become as bad as they are. And that
Yeah.
to me,
You become what you hate.
you become what you hate.
I mean, what's
You
that?
have to figure there has to
Yeah.
be a line as to
Mm-hmm.
which you can now spread your wings without someone trying to push you down. But also don't become the thing you hate. Because the minute you become the thing you hate, you must hate yourself.
Mm-hmm. I
So
mean,
for
that's why
me,
they say you die a hero or
you live long enough to
I'm a
be
suck.
to be the villain, right?
Right.
It's you. There has to be a line, and I'm not saying that it's not justified for us to feel this way. And
Mm-hmm.
I am not God. I don't have all the answers, but what I can tell you
Right. Of course.
is, if you read the book of Job, they, they put him to the test. If you read the story of Cain and Abel, Cain sacrificed. I heard this. Yes, Cain sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't the best fruit. Abel
Yeah.
sacrificed. It was the best fruit. God said,
Mm-hmm.
"Nah, chill. That's not cool. Sorry, Cain." Cain goes and kills his brother. God says, "Your whole descendants, y'all done."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
everybody from that point on, you guys are cursed. And I say, all right, well, these are old stories, Joel. They're not real. Somebody made them up thousands and 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 thousands of years ago. And somehow, some way, it's just been okay for this long. Fine. But if you become what you hate, then you're as guilty as them. And that's why I say, what is the exact alternative?
Mhm.
What is it? Like is it taking things from them? So what do we where do we stop?
but I think that's also a question for them. When do you stop? Right? When do
Right.
you?
No, no, you
Right?
hold people
When?
accountable. No, no.
Yeah.
My definition of love is different than most people. Be
Mm-hmm.
very clear with this. Okay. This is why the girl I'm dating, I drive nuts. My definition of love comes from the biblical aspect of love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Hebrew word for love is ahava, and the root literally means I give. It's a verb.
Mm-hmm.
There's action to it.
Mm-hmm.
Love is accountability. Love is not saying, "Hey, Terrence, man, it's okay that you're drinking yourself to, to oblivion. It's okay, cool. I accept you for who you are." No, it's me looking you in the face and saying, either you change your ways or you delete my fucking number. You hold the person accountable. So I do
Mm-hmm.
think that we as a society need to be able to hold certain people to accountability. We also need to understand these fuckers wasn't around when this shit was happening in the first place. So there's
Mm-hmm.
also you have to be able to look at things in the proper context of what it was,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure, and this is going to piss people off, I'm pretty sure that there's blood running through my veins of people who probably oppressed people in Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. If I go large enough back to my history, I'm pretty sure. Look at my skin. Am I dark?
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
don't look like this, right? I don't look like my watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not this color, which means at some point, someone did something with another race, whether forcefully or on their own.
Right.
So to me, it's do not become the thing that you hate.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that you have to talk quietly around people and be
Mm-hmm.
nice and have
Mm-hmm.
your inside. That's another thing that pisses me off when people say you have to have that inside voice. What do they call it now? That corporate voice. What do they call it?
Oh,
What's that stupid thing they call? I don't mean
oh
stupid
God.
disrespectfully. Get
Yeah,
mad.
no.
What's that stupid thing?
Geez.
It's like you put a mask on or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Oh
you don't need to
man,
do it.
I forgot what that term is,
You don't
right?
got to do that.
But a lot of people do it because they have to, right? Because of the things that go on, especially in corporate America, right? Where a lot of times where you're looked at as, you know, um aggressive, or you're looked at, right, just by the tone of your voice, right? Oh, like, oh my God, like why is she acting like this? Or, oh, right, like you looked at a lot of times more aggressively than other people would, right? If they did the exact same thing.
I
That's
think
that's a lot of the
that's
reality,
fair.
though.
Yeah, because there's certain social biases that people may have, and when they see it on TV, they think you're going to do the same. I think that's fair, and they may not understand people's tones. I also think that we as Black people tend to have that chip on our shoulder, right?
Yeah.
We tend to sometimes think things are happening because of social injustices and racism and this, and sometimes it's just because the sky is blue that day. Sometimes it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be that. So I tend to I think I tend to not put it on other races. I tend to just say nothing's going to stop me anyway.
Facts. I was
Yeah.
trying to look up this thing. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Um,
I don't know what it's called. I forgot the name.
Man, it's bothering me now. Because it's on the tip of my man. But it's interesting. Um, but it's, it's interesting conversation like this just because it's can be taken in so many different ways and so many different avenues.
I know I piss people off. I'm sorry. Get over it, people.
No,
But
I don't even think you're pissing people off. I think it's a just different way of looking at things, but also understanding that you should hold people accountable,
that's my
right? And don't
definition of
let
love.
people run all over you, though,
That's my definition.
right? But sometimes when it's tough because when you're in a position of power, whether that be jobs, housing, a lot of different things, it's almost like you're at the mercy of other people. or other
You
types of
are at the
people.
mercy of other people. All day long, you're at the mercy of other people. I also think that you still have to speak truth to power. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Peterson said it yesterday. His favorite word in the English language. I mean, English language. His favorite verse in the Bible is the truth shall set you free. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to see the truth for what it is. If someone is acting racially biased towards you, you call that fucker out and you let them know it will not be tolerated. But at the same time, if you can't pinpoint it, if you don't know, there's no reason to assume. Because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. We could talk about the systemic racism, we could talk
Mm-hmm.
about other aspects, but that still doesn't stop you from doing your job.
That's a fact.
And that to me is where I get, I don't know if it's peace, but it allows me to move a certain way
That's true. That's true.
without the fear, right? Again, I don't fear them. I don't fear
Mm-hmm.
any. I fear only one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Meeting my maker. So
Right.
anybody else after that, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but do not cross this line.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cross yours. And I treat you with love and respect. But remember, if anybody gets anything out of this, just remember my favorite verse in the Bible, when it comes to Jesus at least, is him whipping people. Everybody forgets that part.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody forgets he flipped tables and started hitting people with whips. That to me, if God, Jesus is love, if God is love, then what is that? Him losing his
Mm-hmm.
temper? Is that what
Yeah.
that overlooked that? No, it's him
Mm-hmm.
holding people accountable.
I love that. And speaking of, you referenced, since you referenced this a couple of times, not T-Till. You
Mhm.
referenced this a couple of times about a young lady that you're dating. Shout
Yeah.
out to her. Um, you know, where do you think, and I know you said that sometimes she gets on you when you talk about, I guess, certain things and accountability and
Yeah.
all of these lovely things that relationships go through. Um, where do where do you think people go wrong in relationships?
Trying to be right.
It's like what I said earlier, that God complex.
Trying to be right. You're too busy trying to be right than trying to move as a union, right? And what you start to realize is your personal experiences do not define all the experiences of everybody on earth. Your mom hugged you every single time you came to the door. I have known you for over, was it 30? How many years have we known each other now? What am I,
Ooh,
40, 25
man,
years?
I think we're
I have
going
never heard that
25
story.
years. Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that story, right?
And how
I,
many episodes have we done?
I've never heard it. So that means your experience from a maternal aspect was different than mine. And I never knew that. And we think a lot alike.
We do. Yeah.
So I think from a relationship standpoint, when you can move as a union and not have ulterior motives to see who has the most power, I think that's when it at least can start to work appropriately. And
Mhm.
I'm not used to that, right? I'm used to being on a team where me and you move as a team, but I need to know you're going to work as hard as me and you're going to do it the way I'm going to do it. Not realizing that person brings a different type of skill set that may not be how you do it. You may wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and practice. I don't need to. I'll practice at 10 o'clock at night,
Facts.
right? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that I'm not putting in the work. So I think to me, those conflicts, look in our society. I posted a video about, on a dating app, people have a criteria for credit scores to date.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Stupid, absolutely dumb. For the record, if there's a certain criteria for a credit score for you to date someone, you're the problem.
Some people might find that surprising for you to say, Joel,
Fuck them.
because Jesus Christ, you didn't even finish. The reason why I'm saying that is because of who you are,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
What
right. I
am I
think
not
it's because of
human?
that. No, no, no. You're human, but people might be surprised just because of what you stand for, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to
Financial
wealth,
literacy. Yep.
financially,
Correct.
all of those things. So that's why I'm saying they probably might be just a little bit surprised because they're probably like, oh, I would have thought he would have agreed with stuff like that.
No, no. In fact, let me put something on the record for everyone right now. I would date someone who's bad with money. If they had all the regular qualities, and other, let's say she had 9 out of the 10 qualities, but one of them wasn't really good with money, I'm gonna break that up. That's a dumbass move.
Mm,
That's a stupid move. You know how many fucking single people are walking around the streets right now with qualities and criteria that they need to have so another person to have? You dummy. That's why you go home by yourself. Because you're
mm,
too busy trying to sit there, have certain I have expectations for myself. And I don't settle for less. Yeah, you're
mm,
gonna die alone if you keep acting like that. Who
mm.
says your shit don't stink? See, people think what you bring to the table is your accomplishments.
Yep.
It is not. Sure, money makes life easier, but I know a lot of people who make a lot of money who are miserable.
Yeah.
So to me, it's move as a unit, and then we'll talk.
Mm.
But when you sit there, they need to make this much for me to date. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Because I know a lot of people who make a lot of money who are dirtbags. They will cheat on you and mess with your best friend that same night. Do not play around. It's not the money. It's not that. It's the morality.
Mm.
It's baseline. It's who you are when none of that shit matters. Who are you if you ain't got no colognes, if you ain't got no fedoras, if you ain't got no house, if you ain't got no slab, if you ain't got no CFA, if you ain't got no MBA, if you ain't
Mm-hmm.
got no Terrence, if you ain't got no Death Free Joe, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
When you die, all that will not fit on your tombstone.
That's a fact.
When you sick, you think your CFA gonna matter when you're looking at 6 months?
Nope.
Come on. So what are we
Mm.
what are we talking about when it comes to qualifications? I love it. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna keep it too long, but
Nah, please.
I love when people say, like I love arguing with people who have qualifications. I get a kick out of it because they know not to argue with me about qualifications. I am qualified to talk about qualifications.
Mm.
So the minute I start arguing with people about it, they shut the hell up. Because then I tell them with everything I have, none of it matters. And it
Mm.
just throws them off.
Mm.
It completely throws them off. Wait, so you're saying that you would, yes, yes, stupid, yes.
And you probably love it, don't you? I know you love that, don't
It's
you?
dumb. It's a dumb concept. I'm not saying you don't have, I'm not, and to, for the record, before some moron is going to say, oh, yeah, I'm not saying that you don't have a certain level of qualities that you want in someone. I am not saying that. I repeat
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You're foolish to say that you don't. I'm saying if there are certain materialistic criteria for you to be able to date someone, I think you have a problem.
Mm.
Because what you realize is the materialistic aspect, which money can fake, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
isn't a judge of someone's moral character.
Facts.
So
And
if the
yeah.
finance, the money guy is telling you that, you
Mm.
know,
That's a fact.
mm,
And I would be remiss if I didn't go here, but just because you have a lot of money, it doesn't even mean that your mental health is good. And it doesn't mean that you don't have issues and problems yourself. Right. And
billionaires commit suicide
oh
at
yeah.
an alarming higher rate than other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Explain that.
Biggie said it.
More
More money,
money,
more
more
and more
problems.
problems.
You thought he was bullshitting until he got clapped up in the middle of California.
Jesus Christ, bro. I gotta edit this out. Jesus Christ.
But
My
think
goodness.
about it. That's not a lie.
Mm-hmm.
More money, more problems. Don't get me wrong. I can enjoy my problems in a Ferrari. That's cool. I get it. That's fun. I come home. I have a big mansion with lots of pools and massage. I get it. But explain to me the suicide rate among these people.
Facts.
right? It's not it. That's not it. It's not it. It's not it. It's not it. If there's anything I can tell anybody, I tell people all the time, do not take relationship advice from me, but you can take at least behavioral advice. I do study that a lot. And what I will tell you is that there's a direct correlation between money and mental health.
Yeah.
Direct. So
Yeah.
yes, you may date someone who's bad with money, but it's in your best interest to ensure that they get better with money. Because if there's a phobia, that phobia is going to dictate how your relationship goes. That does
Mm,
not mean I'm going to date the person. It just means I'm going to work with them. Because I'd
mm.
rather work with somebody who has a phobia about money than a phobia about men.
Ooh.
Because I can't fix that phobia,
Mm.
right? I can't fix the fact that this man put hands on you multiple times before you started dating me. I can't fix the fact that you caught him cheating flat broad daylight. I can't fix the fact that you don't like going to church. As hard as that's going to be, I can't. But what I can work with is, money. All right, we can work around that. I don't got to be filthy rich. I can be happy though. My mother, look, I'll leave you with this, man. I think my mother never made over 45,000, maybe
Mm-hmm.
at peak. Okay, maybe
Mm-hmm.
be 50 racks. And you know, 45,000 back in the day was a lot. No, it wasn't. Still broke. Um, but my mother died in her room, in her clothes, in her bed, no machines, as a grandmother, a mom, an aunt, a sister, a cousin who gave up her entire life for her kids and was good with God. If that's not wealth, what is?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how has, because everybody's different. I'm different. But as a man, how has grief impacted your life?
I think it's a good question. I think for grief, the grief started when she was sick for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't when she died.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So the grief, that's what I said. My mother positioned me the right way. Right. I walked in loving my mom more than God. My mom said, no, 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 you don't put me in front. You put God in front.
Mm-hmm.
So what grief showed me is that we're all going to die. Every last one of us, we're all going to go. So you have to understand to enjoy the moments you have now because it could be taken away from you
Mm-hmm.
and to appreciate life and do the best you can. And when you that tombstone is pretty small,
Yep.
right? Loving dad, loving mom, enduring sister, beautiful wife. It's usually like what, 4 words, if that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you go. So understand that when it's your time to be called, you're ready. You're ready. You did the best that you could because
Mm.
you're never prepared, but you did the best that you can. So get your therapy, have a circle of people around you, that you can lean on, that aren't selfish. And again, I talk about God a lot, but that is what got me through that.
Mm.
Is my faith. I didn't, that's probably a conversation for another day, but
No, talk about it.
yeah, that no question, no question at all. That is the basis of it all.
Mm.
That's how grief is for me. I don't know if it's different for you, but that's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah. I've had a slightly different. Well,
And it hasn't been that way my whole life, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
mm-hmm.
the most recent one. That's what I got.
Yeah. I've I think I've struggled a lot with grief, with certain things. I think as I got older, I think the worse it got. I think when I'm younger, um, you move, you shake, you don't really think you. It's just balls to the wall. Like you're just making things happen. You
Hmm.
know, like you're young, right? But not really realizing that it's a snowball of grief, right? Like I said, the one thing that somebody told me that I'll never forget, it was a pastor told me, he just told me this last year and it blew my mind. But when you do timelines, I got it. Like he's told me, you know, that I've been heartbroken for most of my life.
Yeah, see?
And I'm like, I was like, what? Like, then when we went through a timeline of things, I was like, whoa, wow,
Yeah.
okay. This
Yeah.
is this is what happened to you for. This is what happened to you at whatever, 13, 14, or 17, then again at 22, and then again at this, and then again at 30. Like is always something. And even, like I said, I'm in therapy too. Black men get therapy. So um, working through things with my therapist, she's like, the things you've seen is not easy to swallow because for me, I grew up in a place where I grew up. Church was everything. Church is everything. And my mom is probably one of the most devout Christians I've ever seen in my life. Her whole
Hmm.
life around this, right? And did all the right things. They raise up a child. They say, right? Same thing. Both my parents worked in a church, um, and then my mom worked in the TV ministry, and I followed behind her footsteps. I worked in the TV ministry from the age of 12
Hmm.
until COVID. How about that? COVID. So we're talking well over 20 years, right? Spent all kinds of New Year's Eves. I think I did my first New Year's Eve outside of the church when I turned 30. It took me 30 years to do it, right? And
Hmm.
before I was working in the church at 12, I was in the dance ministry. I was in Sunday school. I was doing all that. I was doing a bunch of everything, right? So I grew up in it. So much so I was doing home Bible school on Scantron tests, right? Um, all types of things. So what came along with that was certain, I think at some point, my expectations, I think, of life and how things should go, um, I think got tested, I think, towards my first test was probably when I was 28. I think that was not my test. I think that was my breaking point. I think that one broke me. I think, I went through my dad, lung cancer, leukemia, my mom, certain things. Then my mom had a brain aneurysm. I think that was what kind of shifted my perspective in life in terms of, and this is just me. So this is not Joel. This is me.
Hmm.
I became severely angry with God.
Have to.
I didn't have that fear that you talk of anymore because at this point, all I saw was, yo, what's there to fear, right? You're gonna kill us anyway.
Right. We're gonna die anyway. So
That.
why am I gonna fear you now if everything around me is becoming destroyed? I get it.
So the fear, so for me, it was almost like, weirdly enough, like I said, it's just me. It became an expectation for something bad to happen to me next, and
Yeah.
that was my thought process in circa when I was about 28, and I said to myself, you know what? I spent all my life doing this.
Now I'm
You
gonna do it.
die.
Yeah.
I said, and in fact,
Why?
I said, I gotta keep you at arm's length, bro.
Yeah.
I said,
Why?
because all I see is the best of me and the best of all of us. Like my mom, my dad suffered for years. And I said, if that's what's coming for them,
I'm done. I'm done. Like,
and
yeah,
that's exactly
I
where I
think
was at.
I think for me, I think Do you know what Israel means?
In just word or
Yeah.
no?
You know how
Mm-mm.
they got the word?
Well,
So, do you remember the story about Jacob wrestling a stranger in the middle of the night?
yes.
Right. And then he didn't want to let the stranger go.
Mm-hmm.
It was interpreted that the stranger was God. So God was like, all right, you can wrestle with me all you want, but I'm going
Yep.
to pop the socket out. So now
Mm-hmm.
Jacob got to walk with a limp for the rest of his life
Yep.
because he wrestled with God.
Mm-hmm.
And God changed his name from Jacob to Israel. And
Mm-hmm.
Israel means those
Yes.
who wrestle with
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
You are not, what I can tell you is what you're feeling is normal. That
Well,
anger is
yeah.
normal. It's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. I think that's what I mean. So the process of going from 28 to now, right?
Yeah.
It's
Struggle.
vastly different, right? So then I was in that space for a couple years. I
Yeah.
was there for a while. But then at some point, I started to kind of get back to the roots, right? Getting back to the roots, right? Then my dad passes.
Yeah.
WTF,
Right in the face.
right? But then again, what got me, see, I think I was okay with the, well, no, that's a lie. I wasn't okay with the death. What hurt me more was the suffering.
Yeah.
Like you said, like your
Slow
mom, like,
burn.
like your mom, like she, almost on her own terms, right?
Well, slow burn. You're
Right,
watching someone become,
right.
you're watching someone who you love no longer be able to do things over
Yeah,
2 year span, right? A 2 year
yeah,
span of them not being able to do what they want.
yeah,
Very hard. Again, my mother, you're watching that. That's what she deserves. She
yeah,
never drank, never got remarried, prayed to you all. That's what you do to her. Are you serious?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think what got me was watching. So now I'm back in that place. Once my dad passes, and I'm like, this is gonna destroy my mom, and it did.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, I said, because I know how things happen. For people who don't know, my mom and dad were married 43 years before he died. And I said, my mom will not die on my watch because I know people who are that close when one goes.
The ones right after 6 months later.
So I said, I put it on my shoulders. I said, if my mom passes away and while she's with me, when my dad passes, it's on me.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, I did it though,
No,
is
I
what I'm
know,
saying.
but like now in retrospect, you're thinking about it, it's
Right.
probably not the best thing. Yeah.
No, I would not, please, I would not recommend it to anybody out there that's going through
Yeah.
stuff like this. Please don't do it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
just me, how I took it because I felt like nobody else, including God, was taking care of her.
Yeah.
So it was me. I
Yeah.
had to.
Mm-hmm.
And watching her suffer that loss was almost as bad as watching her progress or her process with the brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
It was, and honestly, even though she had that, the one thing about my mom, man, I don't know, she bounces back from everything, right? Like, and I'm like, damn, like I can't believe it, right?
Yeah.
This was the thing that I finally saw break.
Mhm.
Wasn't the breast cancer? Wasn't it almost dying from diabetic coma? Wasn't the aneurysm?
Yes.
Even though that was a time,
Yeah.
my dad's death. I, to me, that started a deterioration process I've never seen
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and that pissed me off even more.
Yeah.
So then I go through that process. Thankfully, My mom didn't die at that point, whatever the case is, and then she moved with my brother to Atlanta, whatever the case was. Then year and a half ago,
You got another hit.
2 strokes, and now being paralyzed from one half of her body. The grief for me is always the suffering.
Yeah, it's not the death.
It's the suffering, and
Yeah.
and and that's why I say getting therapy is essential. Um, because, and this is just me, right? Like, and you would probably understand this as well. But last year was a tough year for me
Mm-hmm.
because before my own problems, before my own personal problems, having, and this is what I mean. So when I say this, it's no, you feel so lonely, but not you. I'll just say for me, I felt so lonely in a place where certain things were going on in my life, and I couldn't even call my mom. Now, could I speak to her? Yes, but it's very different.
It's not the same. The
It's
person's not the person that you could have been
right.
there. No, I get it.
And, you know, and in spots where, okay, I can't call my dad. Damn. Now, was I lonely? Like, do I have people, good people around me? Yes. Am I
Yeah,
blessed by
but
that?
the person
Yes.
that you want,
At the time,
yeah,
right? Because there's something different about a mother's love, the parents' love. Like, it's just different. And even if they can't fix it, man, they always either say something that'll put you in a little bit of comfort. It's just different. Like, it's hard for me to
your
explain,
mother's your mother. Your mother's your mother, man.
right? And I have a wonderful, incredible, supportive girlfriend that I know that we talk. And so let's put that out there. So that's not that's not the thing. It's just that part of the loneliness. Like, I never had a birthday without my mom calling me, singing me happy birthday.
Yep.
Never. Until that year where my brother had to call me and remind her it was my birthday. And I was like, holy hell,
It's
this is
real.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Right. And so the grief for me, it's all changing. Like, it's ever changing because there's stuff grief with dad, then there's grief with mom. It's all changing. But the one thing that remains is my accountability to make sure that I'm in therapy, to make sure I
And how you
have a key.
respond. Correct.
Yes.
You can't control the things that happen to you or the people around you, the people you love. All you can control is how you respond. And I think the one thing that you can do or even consider is no matter how bad I feel, I have a job to do now. That was my way of compartmentalizing,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I always give myself a task. Maybe that's why I'm so robotic when it comes to stuff like that. But to me, it was your mom is going, like to me, right? It was like your mom's going to die. And you don't know if you can depend on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's on you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to take this in stages now, right? We're going to show up. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to see the
Yeah.
dimensions start kicking in. You're right. That's going to start getting there. Because once it starts taking over, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard. And what I will say is what gave me comfort was to know that I did the best I could for someone who did the best they could for me.
Absolutely.
That that's why I think my grief is different. With my dad, it was worse. With my dad, that's my superhero, right? That's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
That's MJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
MJ is brought to his knees, right? MJ lost. You watched he got to the finals and he lost. And
Mm-hmm.
you're just sitting there like you remember like the Undertaker first loss in WrestleMania? Like he was invincible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Yeah.
He's invincible. He lost. And I had an ulcer because of it, because I kept all of it inside.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely all of it. There was an ulcer I remember the doctor telling me they thought it was cancer. They didn't know what the hell it was. And eventually he sits me down. He goes, in the literature, in medical literature, it says, sometimes ulcers can't be explained. And I said, I said, what about the loss of a parent? And he goes, no, that usually doesn't work. I mean, usually like third degree burns. And I just sat there and I was in the back of my head, I was like, you don't know what my dad was to me.
Yep.
That was a third degree burn, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my only recommendation to you or anybody else. No matter what the pain is, it's not worse than what the other person is going through.
Oh yeah.
So do
Mm-hmm.
what you can for that person. Hold on to the memories. Trust God and finish the job.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the job is done, it's done. And then
Yeah.
after that, you progress. And I think you also have what gives me comfort with grief is that I'm able to know exactly what my mother would say. That gives me comfort, right?
Yeah.
I know exactly what that woman would say. I spent way too much time with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know. I know what she would say of, okay, Joel, you took care of me. Go get married now. Go have some kids. Go live your life. Please
Hey.
go live your life. Go live your life, Joel. Go live your life. Go live your life. Go live your life. I can
Mm-hmm.
hear my father. I can hear him. I told you stay in school. I never said don't do anything else. What the hell's the matter with you? Go do something. Right? I can hear these people. So because I know what they would say, my grief is never just it's gone. My grief is just the ability to talk to them a little bit differently now. I'll talk to them. They may not talk back, but I know what you're going to say. And I'll see you when I see you, but not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like that. What movie am I thinking of? Gladiator.
Oh, gladiator.
When he's at the end of the movie and he's like, or I forgot. Yeah, it was the end of the movie. It was the black guy, and he was like, "I'll see you later, but not yet." Not.
Mm-hmm.
That means you still have to live now.
Oh
But
yeah.
see you when I get there, and when I get there, I have a lot of questions. Right? So whatever's up there, that's liquor involved. I'm sure. Listen, Jesus' first miracle was making
And the
water into
water.
wine. They gotta have something up there. I never got to have a drink with my dad. I never got to break bread with him. I never got to talk about like women like that with him and being like, yo, why are these people crazy? Like I
Mm-hmm.
never got the chance to do that with him. My brothers,
Mm.
and I didn't have it with my mom either because my mom was just like, we didn't we didn't we didn't have those combos. But
Yeah.
towards the end, you start seeing your mom tell you, listen, this is how you do it. Do, 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 do. And she's telling you stories and she's trying to express to you. So that would be my advice to anybody listening. If you're in that position, if you ever are, you have what worked for me was leaning on what I know. And what I know is you deal with the grief in that time and then you make that person a priority so they go out the right way. And hopefully when it's my time, someone does the same.
Mm.
Right? And that's how the
Mm-hmm.
world turns. Hopefully, right? I don't know how I'm gonna go. So hopefully, I'm with somebody in the room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
hopefully I got somebody. My dad died in the hospital by himself. Superman
Mm.
died in the hospital by himself. No family members next to him. My brother got the call in the morning. That was it.
Mm.
Superman. That's how you go in a hospital bed. I didn't even get to see him in the hospital. I was at Stony Brook.
Mm.
I was in the studying for the MCATs. I did. By the time I got back, they all left the hospital. Done. I'm trying to hold on, and it don't work. Right? My mom in her bed with me in the room, comfortable.
Mm.
She after all that suffering, hope you fucking went out. You know what I mean? Like shit. So hell
Mm.
yeah. Like I'll leave you with this. My brother asked me once, um, like how to deal with the grief of my mom and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, my mother died that day we went to the hospital. She didn't die, you know, on this date. No, she died in the hospital, February, whatever, 6th, 7th. And what I tell people about grief in general, for me, is there's more to this. If you believe in an afterlife, there's more to it. So take care of what you got to take care of. Live your life the best that you can. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. And here's the thing, just because you live a good life does not mean you are absolved from the persecutions of life. In fact, a case
Yeah.
could be the closer you are to God, the more persecutions you'll have. You don't believe me?
Yeah.
Ask God's son.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there's a reason why we wear crosses. One of the most horrific ways to go, right?
Mm.
So if death, if a horrific death didn't stop the Son of God, right, then none of us is safe from that. So do the best you can. Make sure the person goes out right. Do the best that you can for that person. I'll see you when I see you, and I'm gonna miss the hell out of you. But I hope you, you know. And again, this is probably maybe not the arrogant part, but this is. I hope you get a seat and watch what the hell I'm about to do. I'll see you when I see you, but I ain't there yet. I got shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I mean, I guess you know what? I guess that's a good place to end. Um, one, appreciate the vulnerability, appreciate all of the gems, of course, that you always drop. A little different type of conversation today, versus what we normally do. I'm sure we'll get back to what we normally do at a later date. But definitely appreciate the vulnerability in this type of a conversation about various different topics that's going on in our lives and things like that in your life and your own experiences and being open and willing to have this conversation with me, man. I really do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I think the one thing I'll leave everybody with, and I have to be compelled to do so. Two things. One, if you need therapy, get it. Don't be ashamed to do it. And anybody who makes fun of you, you could flat out tell them, kiss my ass.
Mm-hmm.
One. Number two, whatever your faith is, whatever it is, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, non denominational, confused, I don't care. Whatever it is, put your trust in God and go about your business. The minute you align the proper way of looking at life, remember, I loved my mom more than God. My mother made sure to turn it.
Mm-hmm.
If you put God first, you don't have to fear anybody else. You don't have to fear anything in life. To me, I think that's a pretty good way to live.
Well, with that said, this has been another episode of Conversation of the Heart. Please do like, subscribe, share this episode with anyone who you believe might need it. We know it's a long one, but we hope that you're here rocking with us. And at the end of the day, we just want y'all to be safe, be blessed, get your mental health right, get your finances right.
Facts.
Um, and if not, we are here and we have resources for you. So don't hesitate to hit up at Debt Free Joel for all of your financial needs. And if you need any kind of mental health assistance or anything that I can do, if I can point you in the way of a licensed therapist or anything like that you need, shoot me a DM, contact me. I see if I could put you in the right places to get you right, get you some right resources because definitely want to get you right. Again, this is another episode of Conversations of the Heart. Again, it is your boy T Till in collaboration with my man Defree Joel. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
Cheers.